Welcome back, guys, to another episode of What the X. This is episode 62. Crazy that we're already 60 plus episodes in. Thank you so much, everyone that watches, continues to support. Hopefully we can just keep the videos going, the content coming out. Sometimes these stories kind of write themselves. And there's a crazy story going on right now with the Flagrant Podcast. I don't know if you guys know who Akaash Singh is, but he's Andrew Schultz's co-host, Indian American co-host, I guess I should say, of the Flagrant Podcast. And some things have come to light about his wife, Jasleen Singh, that we'll get into. But just so you can kind of get just the start of the beef here, a few years back, they had Andrew Schultz and Akaash. They had the Fresh and Fit pod guys on their podcast. That includes Myron Gaines, who is the other person on the other side of this beef. And essentially, they got these guys on. I think the Fresh and Fit podcast guys, including Myron, who's part of that, was thinking that it was going to be more promotional and less of an ambush, which is what they had gotten, kind of getting attacked on their moral standpoints and things of that nature. But without further ado, let's just kind of go into the tweet that Akaash said, and then we'll go into the videos that he shared, giving us a little bit of context on how that beef all started to begin with. And Akaash Singh had this to say: "My man out here getting triggered by jokes. How ironic. Well, don't worry about me, Myron. I got no issue putting a bitch in his place, for example." And then right here, we're going to get into the video here, just so you guys can take a look at this, and let's hit play.
What I find corny is my preference is not my women. Now, I thought it was I'm not dating my women, period, which is the corniest human being outside of a criminal to me, period. Mm-hmm. Those are your roots. Those women are reflected in your roots. So if you're saying, hey, I don't generally date them, but I have more space for it, even though I still think it's a little corny.
Akaash only dates brown. Akaash has been with one girl in his life who is his wife.
That's my wife. That's an
So
Indian.
He's talking
is
about
like
dating
loyal through.
Okay. They said they wouldn't date black
it's
women.
not as important for y'all, but as an Indian, there's not a lot of us who are famous. So whether you like it or not, people are looking at you as a role model. You guys have established yourselves as role models, from simps to pimps, which is another motto I find kind of corny, but I looked into what you guys are about. And a lot of the shit is just childish, which is fine if you want to be funny. We just
Red
talk
pill,
about doctors
right
and
wing.
shit for 45 minutes. We are not in any way life coaching. We are not in any way trying to help men outside of, hey, come have a laugh for a couple hours. If you're going to paint yourself as life coaches and then say shit like, my preference is, which is honestly bullshit. It is, I don't want to date black girls. That's the way every black dude that fucks white girls says it. I've dated black girls in my life. All right, bro. Who the fuck hasn't except me? You know what I mean? Everybody gonna dabble in everything. It is the mentality that I have an issue with, and Alex is upset with the specific words, true, but underneath it, he's upset with the mentality. And a lot of stuff you guys say in general, I think, is stuff that's kind of childish. I saw a clip where you were like, oh, the nuclear family's falling apart. What do? I don't get married. Just don't get married. You actually trying to help men, or are you talking to fucking incels who are 18 years old?
All right, guys. So that was just so you could get an idea. Akaash basically went nuclear on these guys on the podcast that they brought them onto. So you would think, hey, being the guest, we're coming in good faith. But sure enough, yeah, he unloaded on Myron Gaines and his co-host on their whole messaging that they're doing, which can be problematic. Again, this whole point of this podcast is not to be on either Myron Gaines' side or Akaash Singh's side, but to just show that they both kind of fall on opposite sides of the spectrum when it comes to simp levels. I truly do think that they are two sides of the same simp coin, and I kind of want to get into this a little bit further. So that was the response, essentially, that Akaash had for Myron Gaines coming after him, because Myron Gaines got a little bit of some intel from followers, people that kind of, I would assume, watch both of them. And Myron Gaines, he had this to say: I'm never wrong about these women. Mind the language here. Stupid ass Jeet at Akaash Singh tried to lecture me about women years ago with his equally retarded co-host at Andrew Schultz, aka Andrew Schultz scene. here's the Jeet's stupid ass wife making a mockery of him and herself on a podcast. And then he's got the link to the podcast where Jasleen Singh, Akaash's wife, may have said some things that I don't think any husband would appreciate to hear. And what's sad, guys, because two sides of the simp coin, right? It should have been real easy to attack Myron Gaines. It should have been real easy to discredit the things that he says, the toxic stuff that he says. But you do have to realize that you can't be with a woman like Jasleen Singh if you're going to, judge and berate someone for their own views and opinions on women. And just so you guys you're like, what the hell are we even talking about here? Let's get into this, guys. This is where it's gonna get real crazy. And just watch, get your popcorn out, guys. This is crazy.
Hard to believe. Yeah. I remember I was just like, what? But she was 22, I was 31. There was an age gap.
Sometimes I get so painfully nostalgic for college. I was popping my pussy and living my best life in these white boy frat houses.
I'm actively trying to have an orgy and you haven't seen Nav.
Shout out to the edits. Shout out to the edits.
See him. His body goes crazy. His face card always slays, never declines. And it's kind of weird because I'm talking about your husband. I just know
that's her co-host husband.
He's like at least 10 inches. Okay, I have two butthole stories. So one time I met this guy on Tinder and I made the dumb mistake of letting him sleep over, not really wanting to fucking hook up. And I woke up in the morning and my asshole was a little sore. Oh my god! And I remember that he what kind of porn do you watch when you use a vibrator?
Okay, not gonna lie, I don't watch porn while using a vibrator. What? I just think my imagination is vibration enough.
Wow.
I just think of my own husband while I'm doing it.
Wait, that's kind of baller, but I could never do that.
Yeah. And so I was using.
You and your husband split finances, and I'm gonna be really fucking honest.
I don't.
We don't.
We don't.
We don't. Baller.
First of all, that's a fucking red flag. I'm not no joke. I love you girls. If you want to work, all for that, whatever. But any man that doesn't want to have a joint bank account or isn't being transparent with his accounts or has separate accounts, that's a fucking red flag. This is not a two-way street. This is a one-way street. His money is our money, and my money is my money. And look, have I only made $600 from content creating?
Wow, I went up $100 from last week.
But that's my money.
Yeah, there you have it right there, guys. His money is our money. My money is my money. So already just thinking that she just deserves everything that Akaash has just simply by being with him. And then also the fact that, look, I'm not here to slut shame. I'm not here to say that you can't, live your life, do whatever you want. But if you're going to be married with someone who gets a lot of their income through public opinion and videos and content creating, the least you could do is not look like a complete whore on the internet. The least you could do is not talk about all your sexual exploits and the fact that you straight up lied about being a virgin, which is wild. Again, she's 22, he's in his 30s. He kind of should have seen this coming. You would think as a comedian that he would be observant. Comedians are known to be masters of observational humor, some of the best. And this guy couldn't be observant enough to see that his future wife, was lying about being a virgin. So I just question the whole guy's ego. His ego is out of whack too, because if you remember that earlier video that I showed, he said, as being a famous Indian, there's not a lot of us. And you got to make sure that, because you're going to be role models. And then he's comparing the responsibility that the Fresh and Fit Myron Gaines have as role models. And he himself projecting, saying that he's a role model now because he's a famous Indian. He's no Aziz Ansari. But yeah, I guess he is famous and he happens to be Indian. And now he's famous for the wrong reasons, because he set himself up for failure by getting with a 22-year-old at 31, believing that she's a virgin, and also allowing her to do a podcast completely unchecked. I mean, this just looks bad for his whole squad, Andrew Scholes and the guys. If you haven't seen the last Flagrant video with Tim Tebow, the comments are just all about Akaash's wife, and they didn't even bring her up at all in the hour-plus podcast. That's some serious heat, guys. And she just doesn't even... She takes everything from this guy and then records content that embarrasses and shames him. It's like, couldn't you just make content about, like, literally anything else? Literally anything else would have been better content to make to be more supportive of the partnership that you guys are supposed to have. Really, really stupid. And, gosh, they gave Myron Gaines and they gave the Fresh and Fit guys, they gave them a win today. If I was Myron Gaines, I would constantly come back to this and be like, shut up, dude, you're a simp. Because the fact that he has not left her yet is peak simps, peak simp level. And I'm not talking because there's this term red pilling and like waking up, being a man. And there's extremes on that side too. But there's also extremes in just being a complete simp. And it's going to make the rest of the Flagrant guys have to almost distance themselves. Because how are we going to respect what anyone says when they clearly don't respect themselves if they're going to allow themselves to be treated like this? Maybe Akaash is like masochistic, or what's that word? You know, where he's like sadism, masochism. You know, maybe he's into being embarrassed and like cucked like this. But when you have your own wife talking about having sex with her friend's husband, that's crossing a line. That is completely disrespectful. So just the sheer level of disrespect is crazy. The internet is buzzing about it. You know, obviously this is not new news at this point. So if you guys are watching this, I do appreciate it. I kind of just wanted to give my input on the whole situation because, you know, it's not like I'm a straight player or anything like that. I'm with a woman that I care about deeply and love. And we both have, we work on interdependence. It's not like I'm out here just making a bag just so she can spend it. And the same with her. It's like she's doing her thing too. And I'm very proud of her. I'm proud of us. We're leveling up every day. That's what you should be doing instead of just embarrassing the shit out of your husband. Because this does not look good for Akaash. The optics are bad. And then, man, if he was saving himself for a virgin, he picked the wrong one. That's all I'll say. And then we got one more tweet that I wanted to go over from Myron Gaines again, just because I titled it Toxic Tweet. So let me just read this for you guys. I don't treat women as equals because they are inferiors. Before you start saying misogynist, ask yourself, why do women want taller, smarter, stronger, more money? Women only, all caps, want equality until the bill or danger arises. If you're expected to play or protect them, then treat them as inferiors. Don't give them equality when it suits them like an idiot. Trust me, they like it that way more anyways. So and I've even heard that even before all of this crazy toxicness, like, oh, if you treat them like shit, they'll come back and things like that. And maybe that's true in some instances, which is not a good thing. Just because something's true doesn't make it okay or good. And then also just the fact that he's so defensive against women at this, and like it is misogynistic to a degree. Again, there's a balance, guys. You can't be a complete simp like Akaash. You just can't. You're going to just tank. You're going to ruin yourself. That's one rule to always remember, guys. You're a product of the people you rock with. And if that doesn't only pertain to your friends, it pertains to the woman you're going to spend your life with, or man. Because this honestly isn't even like just a one-sex side thing. You know, it's like this also applies to women too, with relationships. Don't be with some bum who's going to drag you down. I don't want no scrubs. You heard it from TLC. You can't settle. And then that's something that always stuck with me, that my grandpa said, I didn't have the most game in high school and I was single for the longest time. Everyone would always ask, do you have a girlfriend yet or something like that? And then, my grandpa, not that it made me feel any better, but he always had a good advice because he said, hey, look, even though it's like, he was basically saying, like, don't ever be desperate. Don't ever lower your standards. Men should have standards. Of course, I'm applying this to men and women with giving this, advice back to the general pop. But all I want to say is, like, have standards for yourselves because standards are good. When you don't have any standards for yourself and your dependency shows and it's the power and balance of the relationship isn't there, it's not going to work. If she's just, I don't think she's even like straight up attracted to the guy at all. Because it's like, how can you say such disrespectful shit? I would be done. She would be out if that was the case. And if it was roles reversed and some guy was talking about smashing a whole bunch of chicks, which, come on, let's be honest, there is kind of that double standard, and you got people that are players and things like that. I'm not on that boat, I'm not saying that that's right. And I'm also want to point out Myron Gaines' own insecurities that are just littered within this tweet, because he's talking about how they want taller, smarter, stronger men. And it's like, that's just an excuse in a way. I mean, it's true. There's like essential, like real universal attractiveness kind of things going on with what he may be saying. But that doesn't mean that you got to have this self-defeating mentality. That doesn't mean to not trust any woman ever and not give your heart to open to someone. Vulnerability is also a very brave thing, to be vulnerable with someone that you're saying that you love, right? So you shouldn't be on the other extreme of this whole simp teeter-totter that we're seeing here, where you got Akaash on one side and then you got Myron Gaines who says treat him and beat him and all this kind of crazy stuff, because it should be right in the balance. You want to respect who you're with, but you also don't want to bend over for them at every opportunity. You have to respect yourself. It's about respecting yourself and respecting them at the same time, where it seems like Myron Gaines almost forgot about the respecting the woman part. It's like, hey, let's respect each other, because a relationship isn't just one person. And it's almost like Myron Gaines is only just thinking about his own individual self, when it's like, the reason I'm so happy with the relationship that I'm in is like, we want to help each other, to support each other, but also don't want to hold each other. There's that interdependency. I love that word, but it's true. It's like you want to grow together. You don't want to be dependent on another. Yeah, I meant for that to rhyme. But that's just my 2 cents on the whole thing, because I really think that Akaash just really messed up in being the guy to come after Fresh and Fit, coming after Myron Gaines. Myron Gaines should have been an easy target. He's a toxic, red pill, right-wing misogynist who talks about just basically generalities, right? He's just generalizations. He's saying, oh, like these are... He is trying to capture that incel community. There's no doubt about it. And the reason people are incels, in my opinion, is because they don't respect themselves. So you got to remember to respect yourself first and foremost. I'd rather be with a 5 who like is going to be a ride or die than an 8 and on who's just going to be hoeing around and making you look bad. All right? Have someone that's going to support you, not someone that's going to drain you. And not in like the nice way that you might think, like just drain you of your money. Other than that, I think that's all I really got for this discussion, guys, this topic. We'll see how Akaash responds. He's been pretty silent since the first tweet about talking shit on Myron, and then Myron just one after another on these tweets. We could go for hours with how much this guy's been attacking Akaash with all the ammunition that he's been given, because Akaash's wife completely destroyed him. It's not Myron that destroyed Akaash. It's Akaash's own wife that destroyed Akaash. So, yeah, hopefully he learns from this. Hopefully he doesn't become a full Myron Gaines right-wing red pill guy, just because, learn from the simp level here and find your way in the middle a little bit. Maybe adopt a few things that Myron has about like self-worth and understanding, what women are actually after sometimes when they're talking about your money and they're disrespecting you in these ways. Maybe listen to him sometimes on that kind of stuff. But on the other hand, don't go too far to where you're just a complete asshole. So, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been another episode of What the X. Always stay balanced and just everybody love everybody, okay? Thank you guys again so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. If you like that clip, feel free to click on this clip or even this clip. And then, hey, don't forget about that clip over here. Thanks, guys.